Oh, hello. I think we're recording. It's funny, sometimes when I hit it, I get an ad come blocking the screen with this ad that I really don't want to see. I don't know how it got there. Drives me nuts. Well, okay, I'm already nuts. So I guess it's not really the ad's fault. Anyway, I'm back, and today I have a few things that I want to talk about. Knowingness and answers to red pill information. The red pill information is on my Discord. I have quite a few pages on my Discord. One of them is red pill, and I've been posting a lot of those articles and videos there recently. Just started. I mean, mainly they're on my Facebook page. Have been for 10 years. Been doing that over there. Uh, I am kind of figuring that most people listening to me right now are already quite aware of the problems that we face in our world. They're already quite up to date on the red pill stuff. So there's a lot of people out there doing really good work in the red pill area. And so I'm not making that my YouTube video thing. There's a lot of people doing that. I'll post their videos on my Discord. And we can talk about those if you join my Discord, and that would be great. But I've been thinking very deeply about kind of tying a few things in here together. And let's just start out with the knowing, okay? You know how it's kind of like so humble and so spiritual to say, I know nothing. But it's not the truth. it's, it's really not the truth. And I think we have to kind of get away from doing that. I mean, I've fallen into that myself because I don't know. I mean, it can almost stem from a fear of being wrong, right? So if we say, well, I really know nothing, well, it doesn't mean that what we think we know at the time, we may be proven to be wrong at some future date. We all do that. That's being human. That's taking the effort to try and figure stuff out. That's going to happen. And please, if I'm wrong, let me be wrong. Let me know so I can correct. Because you want to be correct. That's the main thing. I mean, you don't want to fight to the death to prove that you're correct if you're wrong. Of course not. You don't want to do that. You want to know what's true. And so, the seeking of what is really true is at the bottom of that whole thing. To say I know nothing, well, I know if I jump off a cliff, I'm not going to fly. I know that. That's one thing I know, right? I know that if I aggress against someone, that's wrong. That's not right action. I know that to tell a lie is wrong. If I know something is true and I tell somebody just the opposite, full well knowing that it's not true, I know that that's wrong. We know a lot of things. We know a lot of things. We know a lot of things when it comes to natural law. We know that everything has consequences. We know that when we follow orders without knowing what the heck is behind those orders, we create chaos in the world. We cause a lot of pain in the world. A lot of people end up committing suicide because they can't deal with the orders that they followed. Those things I know. I know that there's a lot of organizations that have gained prominence in this world, belief systems that are wrong, that are made simply to control us, to control what we think, what we believe, so that we look no further for what is really true. I know that. You know, I know a lot of people that are in those organizations and in those belief systems are good people. I know that. I know a lot of people who are order followers who mean well and think they're doing the right thing. I know that. I know 2 and 2 is 4. I know when the sun is shining and when it's not. You know, so there are things that we know. We should never say, I know nothing. That's just not true. We know a lot. There's a lot more to know, of course. So there's a knowing of natural law. There's a knowing of what is true on this earth plane, right? And then in the more esoteric worlds with our connection with, you know, the greater part of who we really are, when we get into those kind of things, we can connect with a greater kind of sense of knowing things. But that's a personal thing, I think. I think that's really more of a personal thing because it's experiential. And it's experiential on an individual basis. And that's something that we can compare notes on. We may know that for ourselves. We know what our experience is, and we can't, you know, deny or let someone else take that away from us. But I think the main thing about that idea of not knowing anything, we have to get over that. We have to really get over that. It's just not true. It's not true. Why should we believe something that is not true? It doesn't serve us. Truth serves us. Only the truth serves us. Only the truth serves us to be a better person. Only the truth serves us to create a better world. Okay, truth lives. If you take a piece of paper and you draw a line down the middle and you put right and wrong, you know, right on one side, wrong on the other, truth lies in the right side. If you put love on one side and fear on the other side, truth lives in the love side. Okay, so truth and freedom as well lives in the love side. It lives in the side of what's right. Chaos lives on the fear side. Chaos lives on the wrong side. And when people tell you, you know, like if you want to talk about anarchism, do you know what anarchism really is? Anarchy is simply no ruler. No ruler, no slave. Because if you have a ruler, you have slave. Well, how many rulers are there? That means the rest of us are slaves. There's a lot of people who spend a lot of time going into that. I'm not going to do that right now. But just think about it. There's a lot of things that enslave us, a lot of things. If you really think about it, there's a lot of things that enslave us in our society today. And if you think we're free, you're brainwashed and you're delusional. We're free to an extent, but everybody who's not free is free to an extent. Just enough to make them think that maybe they're free. But there are a lot of things that when it comes right down to it, like not really ever owning your house, because if you don't pay your property taxes, you'll find out real quick who owns your house. You know, if you don't pay your income taxes, You get thrown in a cage. You don't get to decide with your own free will whether you want to support what your income taxes are going to do. And there's no accountability about that either. So why not? Why aren't some of the people who are deemed your rulers not held to the same accountability as you? How is it that someone is deemed to rule over you? How is any other human being deemed to rule over you? Just think about it. Think about that question. Where does that right come from? Is it a right or a wrong? And so when you talk about these things, and you talk about the idea of not having a centralized government, people think, oh, well, if you don't, you're going to have chaos. Chaos, my friends, is pretty much what we have now. Chaos is what governments create. Governments, if you really look at what they're involved in, they are a very criminal organization. And they don't care about you. They don't care about you. And anyone who has gone into their military to work for them without realizing that's what they were doing finds out pretty quick what chaos is. We have to break through the illusion. We have to break through the lies. We have to be grown up enough to see those things and not be so brainwashed and so in an illusionary, mind-controlled world that we can't even see those things. We have to see those things. And it is for our own good that we see those things. Because once we see those things, we have the power to make them stop by not doing them. By not working for these people to make their dreams come true. We're the ones who make their dreams come true. By following their orders mindlessly, with some sort of like religious belief that they're good and they're not going to give you an order that's not for your good, or whatever the people who do that believe. So if you are aware of those things, or if you want to be aware of those things, it really comes down to the how can we heal it? It really comes down to anarchy and realizing that anarchy is not chaos. Chaos is what we have now. If we get rid of that central control that is the criminal element at large in the world, we get rid of that. We are not going to behave in that way without them telling us to. No, most of us are not going to do that. So we can organize in our own ways without that looming, looming central criminal organization telling us what to do. We can do it a whole lot better all by ourselves. So that's what anarchy is. But they want you to think that it's these people that are, maybe the communists or the anti-fascists, that are out there, throwing whatever Molotov cocktails and wanting to create havoc and punch people in the face and all that kind of stuff. Anarchists understand that in order to have anarchy, You have to be guided by the non-aggression principle. They call it the NAP, the non-aggression principle. You do not aggress against anyone unless if they aggress against you, then you self-defend. And that's the only rule, really. That's you just do, it's the golden rule, you do unto others, and that's how you live. And you have to learn right from wrong, which, I think really most people probably know if they really were left to their own accord. And so really basically we have to grow up. So there's ways out of this, okay? There's ways out of this situation. Don't think there's not. There are. One is to realize what's going on. One is to realize that the people in charge are criminals and that they don't really care about us and that we don't need them and that we are not going to work for them in any capacity and we are not going to do any job for them at all, at all, at all. Zero. We're going to do, and then in terms of the stronghold that the banks have over our economic system, with the cryptocurrencies that are coming into view now, support only those cryptocurrencies and platforms that are as decentralized as possible. Don't support anything that is centrally controlled by governments or banks or anything like that. Anybody who's in that stronghold, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to use cryptocurrencies and blockchain that they control, as opposed to the cryptocurrencies that are available for us to use that are under our control, or no one's control, really. That can't be controlled. Okay, those are the cryptocurrencies that you want to support, because that is another avenue that's going to give us our freedom. Okay, but our freedom depends upon our willingness to grow up and to take self-responsibility. And that's what has to happen. We can't look to anybody to be our savior in any aspect of our lives except us. We have to take control of our lives. We have to take control of ourselves. We have to be responsible for the mistakes that we make and for the things that we do. That's what it means to be grown up. We don't need a mommy and daddy to take care of us. Mommy and daddy government, mommy and daddy religion, mommy and daddy banks, mommy and daddy anybody to tell us what to do, what we can do, what we can't do, because we have our own knowing about what is right and what is wrong. And we can make those decisions for ourselves. And no one can tell us, just because arbitrarily they make a law that makes a criminal out of someone who has done no harm, and then because of that they can be put in a cage for their entire life. We won't be having things like that going on. We'll have a much more right and just world. But we have to step up. It's up to us. We have it. We've got the keys. We have everything we need. But it starts with the knowledge. It starts with the knowing of what is really going on and the knowing of what to do about it. Thanks.